we're going to talk about retrospectives. Who do you think needs a retrospective? Is there a minimum? Do you think it's required?
Absolutely not. I've seen plenty of companies who don't do it, but they also don't grow, they don't improve, they keep banging their heads on the same door again and again and again.
Today I'm joined by a game producer and good friend, helping one of mobile gaming's most enduring teams, Supercell, work better together. She's been in games since 2017 and now works on Heyday at Supercell, where she focuses on team health, ownership, and quality. So if I'm running a retro and it's leading to zero change, by definition, that's a bad retro. It wasted everyone's time. So how do we have retros that actually lead to change?
They ask your feedback, they ask what was challenging, then you commit to this fluffy thing, and then you forget it. And then that just bubbles still under the hood, and those things need to be resolved one way or another. Together, you guys chose 50 separate improvements, individual actions that all helped us to become better, stronger, faster, trusting each other more.
We talked about why retros fail, why anonymous feedback often weakens trust, and how teams can avoid vague action or follow through and the same problem showing up again and again.
If you actually want to become better, if you want to have autonomic, impactful team that takes ownership and delivers and learns and grows, you probably should do retrospectives.
From someone who started in player support and built her career around helping teams communicate and improve, please welcome this episode's guest, game producer at Supercell, Maria Maunula. Maria, welcome to the show.
Hello, happy to be here.
Happy to have you again. So it's been a while since we've had a podcast, but you were on a previous podcast where I was a host, and it was one of my favorite chats. I used to actually always recommend, like, if you're going to listen to a podcast, listen to this producer roundtable. And that was 2 years plus probably now. It's been a while. So yeah, really excited for this chat. So for everyone at home, I'm going to quickly read your rap sheet if you don't mind. So Maria has been a producer for a very long time and also is now working at, of course, Supercell. But your journey was not traditional, which is something I really like. Maybe you can share, actually. It's better than me sharing. Like, what was your journey to go from your first gaming job to Supercell? Because I think it's really inspiring.
Actually, if I want to go even a step further. So for those who dream of doing gaming job, this is very much possible. I used to sell toilets, porcelain toilets.
So did not expect you to say that. I thought you did. I thought you sold like what do you say? I thought you sold like telecommunications for some reason. Toilets. Holy crap.
Cameras, everything, like long-time electric devices, but then more the home hardware. And I realized I absolutely dislike this job. I'm losing my trust in humankind, and I don't feel really meaningful at doing that job. But it had a lot of transferable skills that actually matched on games industry. So I started as doing player support and community. And from there, I saw so many good opportunities to really make the dev team to hear the players and players to have their wishes fulfilled by the dev teams in a business sensible way. Of course, they can't just always get everything that they want. Unlimited loot boxes would be not fun for anyone. But from there, yeah, throughout the years, I just constantly wanted to improve the ways how we work, how we make games. And to be clear, I cannot code a single line of actual game code. Like, I can do HTML. That's the best I can do. So I'm not a coder. I'm not a tech person. I'm not an artist. But I do know people. And that's how I became a producer.
Fantastic. And this was in 2017. And then you had one company, then a different company. And you went to then Do Dreams and then Rovio. And now Supercell. You've been there for 2 years. I don't typically ask this question, but with producers, I will. Like, what is your actual job? Because producer means different for everyone, right? So, like, maybe paint a quick picture.
Love that question, because even I had to ask that when I was joining Supercell. What do producers here do? Because for the longest time, for over a decade, Supercell said no to producers in the traditional way.
And maybe you can share why. That would probably be interesting.
For those who don't know, the Supercell culture, when the company started, the teams were really, really tiny, efficient, fast. Let's make quick decisions. Let's move forward. Let's iterate. Let's try. The teams were 6-8 people, not bigger. So there's no room for producer. There was no need for producer. But that was when mobile games was new. It was something that the world hasn't seen before. Now, a decade later, We have live ops, we have so much outside events, marketing activity, real life things like parks and events and all those things. So the teams simply cannot be that small anymore, or they can, but for them to really go to the top crossing and to really offer another decade of gaming experience for players, they just simply need bigger teams. And that's when Supercell also said, hey, yeah, maybe we need producers finally. And I joined here, but it's been very different from the traditional role. So
Hmm.
IT world would describe me as a project manager. Gaming world, we are producers, but we have to do a little bit of everything. There's a bit of release management, there's a little bit of leadership, there's a little bit of business thinking, product ownership, a little bit of QA, a little bit of player support, everything and anything in a way. But in the core of it, I need to make sure that all those stakeholders talk to each other, they work together, they know what to expect from each other, and that in the end we deliver good quality for the players.
Beautiful. And we're going to hone in on one topic, but I want to make sure people don't click away if you just came on YouTube, because I see the retention graph. So we're going to make it very clear. We're going to talk about retrospectives. And maybe we should unpack that term because someone might listen and be like, oh, okay, bye bye. So who do you think needs a retrospective? Is there a minimum? And let's unpack that, maybe that term.
Every one of those who have experienced a bad retro or still today thinks they have no value. I don't care about this. This is a waste of my time. I'm here today to convince you you should benefit of those, and I will make sure that you have some aces in your sleeves to make that happen.
Nice. So why is a retrospective? Do you think it's required? Let's ask that first. Do you think it's required?
Absolutely not. I've seen plenty of companies who don't do it, but they also don't grow. They don't improve. They
Mm.
keep banging their heads on the same door again and again and again. So, if you actually want to become better, if you want to have autonomic, impactful team that takes ownership and delivers and learns and grows, you probably should do retrospectives.
All right. All right. So where I like to do this. So let's maybe do a small, medium, large situation. So if I'm listening to this and I have a very small studio, so I'll role play. I have a 4-5 person team. Do I need retros or am I too small?
You definitely would benefit from retros, yes.
So it's not depending on the size of the team, you'd say?
No, because we are humans, we are packed animals, we communicate, and communication is not a self-explanatory thing. It's not something that everybody does the same way. It's not something that we expect to happen the same way. As long as you work with people, retrospectives are for you.
All right. So in terms of the retros that don't change anything, what's fundamentally going wrong there? So if I'm running a retro and it's leading to zero change, by definition, that's a bad retro. It wasted everyone's time. So how do we have retros that actually lead to change?
There's been so many times when I come to the company and there's good want and intent and will to learn. There's thinking that we'll just do retros, we'll talk a little bit about what went wrong, what went well. But so many times I see the same patterns happening. Team set actions that are very fluffy and vague, like, hey, let's next time talk better. Hey, let's give more feedback. But what does that feedback mean? When do you talk more? Like, you need concrete actions that needs concrete owners, that needs follow up, and the follow up is something that so many companies forget. So they ask your feedback, they ask what was challenging, then you commit to this fluffy thing, and then you forget it. And then that just bubbles still under the hood, and those things need to be resolved one way or another. So if you set an actual action with a concrete owner and follow up, that your likelihood to actually solve the issue is higher.
Hmm.
One other thing that some people might debate with me, but anonymous retros. And for those people who do it anonymous, you might have a survey or you might have like just a sticky note somewhere, and you don't know from who did that feedback came from, why, how do you build trust? Like if that's what I need, I can go to talk to the chair next to me because
So
I don't know
you're
who the
saying
chair
anonymous
is.
retros are just not optimal.
Yeah, unfortunately. If your goal is also to build trust and you want these people to know each other, to feel like they can share, they need to have the accountability. Is my feedback. I have to address and meet this person in front of
Why
me.
do you think anonymous retros exist? Like maybe there's afraid of something, right? Like what do you think they're afraid of here?
Change is scary, and ideally, a retro ends in the goal of change. Something needs to change, that something will improve. Change is scary. It's also very hard. Our industry is very global. We have, even in my team currently, 21 different nationalities. The way how we speak, it's difficult to step out of my comfort zone. Classic example, I'm a Finnish person and I often skip the "hey, how are you doing" kind of part because it's just not built in me. And for my UK fellow colleagues, they're like, that girl is so rude. So those those kind of the place to speak, if you have the context who is speaking and why would they share this feedback, it feels so much more personal and in a way intimate as well. And it's not something we often associate at work. I also need to talk to people. Simply, I need to communicate. I need to learn about these people, and I need to talk about feelings. And I know that's a stereotype that a lot of the game devs are super introverts and they never talk. That's often because they don't have a place to talk. They would talk
Oh
if
yeah,
you just facilitate and encourage that discussion.
it's interesting. I've had a very good week. Randomly prepared me for today's podcast. So I've had 20 conversations. I call them growth plan calls, where I ask them what's their dream, what's stopping you getting there, and I just unpacked that in like 20 minutes. I had 10 before this podcast. So today I was from 8 a.m. to 1 p.m. It was like my favorite day ever. Someone's nightmare. I had a very good time. And what you said is it's honestly having those conversations. I realized no one has those conversations. And when I ask them what's their dream, they usually say something which is quite small. I'm like, okay, well, why do you want that dream? Do you want a family? Do you have a family? Okay, cool. I guess you want to feed them, right? Cool. So the dream is feed family. Great. How much money do you need for that family? And then we get a number. I'm like, okay, to hit this number, what it needs to change? And then we have the actual dream, which is increase prices or actually start a job or actually start the business. And this is what they haven't done. And once we know that, okay, do you know what you need to do? Sometimes they do. And then they start saying these excuses. It was very interesting. It's like, yeah, I think there's an ageism going on in the industry right now. Like, okay, cool. How many applications have you done? Yeah, I didn't think so. So you don't know yet. So you can't have that assumption. I'm saying all this to say, I really try to make it as emotional as possible because if it's like, let's improve KPI by X, I don't care. But when we like connect it straight to like, here's the dream, by improving our processes, we're going to spend more time with our family. We're not going to crunch as much. And also, number go up in company, typically in a good company, number go up in your personal life, right? You add more value, there's probably more job opportunity. So I like emotion. I want to get as emotional as possible. And I only do it though on my one-to-ones and in my personal, I do a quarterly personal development plan with my team. But I've not got much emotion in retros. So would you say, very weird question, but like, does a retro need to be emotional? I don't know. Maybe you can unpack that for me.
Hmm, good question. I don't think it does have to be emotional, especially if you have a team that's been working together, let's say 5 years, and they already know each other in and out. It might be a more practical, let's just hop onto the actions.
Mm.
But especially if you're building a new team, to give a bit more context, here at Supercell, we are growing our team. I'm working at Heyday. We have been hiring a lot recently, and that means we have a new team. If you just put group of people in a room and say behave, make actions, be nice, yeah, that doesn't really resonate as like to you as a human being. But if you allow them to talk to each other, they might reveal emotional things, and I would love to hear about those. Some people share, of course, a bit more. Some people share difficult times in their personal life, which helps the rest of the room to understand, okay, maybe this person is not super active or available all the time in Slack and those. So they have more context. And I'm really happy if the team shares more of that. I wouldn't say it's mandatory. but it helps definitely each other to understand where we come from, and kind of understand, like you said, the motivations and the reasons behind my behavior.
Yeah.
That is
And lack of
definitely welcome.
behavior. That's the most. Yeah, I was been a very big unlock for me. Is like lack of behavior. I try to never come at it as like, why haven't you done this? I try to stop saying that question. I'm like help me understand like what's happening, why this isn't done. And then the answers I'm getting is I had a training process around ideating content, which when combined with feedback from another place became the most convoluted way to get an idea. And I just had no visibility of that for 2 weeks. And of course, like if I was joined my company and had that same experience, I would have also spent hours doing something which I think takes 20 minutes. And I had no idea. And it was just understanding why behavior happens and not behavior happens, and like actually looking at it instead of just saying, let's do better, write faster. Like it feels weird to say, but I know that was my life for so long. um, yeah,
I've seen so many situations where one of those actions are almost like you mentioned, like just write that, make that happen kind of thing, where team comments, let's make better tickets. What does that even mean? Why? And I don't think a lot of the companies who have done this anonymously, there's no ill will behind it, but there's kind of, they are afraid of the confrontation, and they are maybe too afraid of those emotional discussions, especially when you put in different kind of people in the same group, same situation. They have to sometimes talk about very difficult things. The feedback that they share and give, how we receive the feedback might be quite emotional sometimes. So definitely when you connect clear actions, it doesn't become this blame game for people as well. And you cannot hide behind a craft, for example. Those anonymous surveys often becomes like QA craft did this, or production didn't do
yeah,
this.
it
But
gets
when
very
it becomes,
tribal.
yeah, if it's you and me, if it's Harry, I would need from you this because it would help my life on this. You are most likely 100% more committed on making that change than survey saying, Harry, you fucked up. You have to do this now.
Yeah, and then you can say sales does not understand or product doesn't understand. It's like I wonder why. um,
Yes.
let's get some foundation. So, how do you decide how often to do a retro?
Timing of the retros, that varies quite a lot. But one very common mistake I see people doing is either on a company level, if it's a smaller company, or team level, they focus the retros on certain specific things like specific release or specific feature or specific campaign or
Okay.
specific goal, and that might dictate over the time. Uh, I'm very big fan of agile development. We work in sprints, so my sprint ceremonies. I hate those agile jargon words, but we do have a retro after every end of the sprint. And the reason why I'm so, I wouldn't say petty, but so like this is my pet peeve to have them more often. For example, some teams release maybe 4 times a year, 6 times a year, and if you ask on a human language someone to think, hey Harry, what did you do 2 months ago? You remember? 2 months ago you did you say this or that? Did you do that? Did you complete your task? That's just way too long time for humans to remember such details and feelings that impacted at the time. Also, if the focus is on a specific thing, like let's say that release or feature, you're guiding the discussion out from the actual ways of working, the behavior
Mm,
model, and it can become again this product or increment focused. How did we do? Did this feature work well? Did the players like about it? Which is all important, but nothing to do with retrospectives, because it would be more about how did we get into shipping this feature? Did it work like we designed? Are you as a designer happy and proud of your work that we just put out to players? As a coder, did you learn something new about this? Were you able to help your junior developer to also grow while doing this feature and things like that? So in my head, I would like everyone to separate the retros from those specific goals. They come and go, they change. There's always a new goal, but the retros should be concurring, constant, and often enough that the team actually remembers what were they working on, what did they try to achieve.
hmm. So, two questions. First one: how do I decide whether I should do weekly, bi-weekly, monthly? I'm guessing quarterly's out the window, right? But like, how do I decide? Is it depending on how much work is being done? Does it depend on the size of the team? Should I have mini retro then big retro?
Good question, good questions. Let me unpack that a bit. So, how often I would ask from the team in a retrospective? How often would you actually want to see each other? How much you're willing to give your time for this specific thing? And that comes hand in hand how long your retros are also. So if you have like your example, 4 people, you probably can manage it in, I don't know, 45 minutes and you're in and out. Especially if you already have a good trust and relationship with each other. If it's completely new team, this is the first time you have been working together on a big goal, I would do it probably quite often and even maybe a bit longer because it takes a bit of time to kind of fish out the answers from the people and get them into their mindset and mood to share in a room. Perhaps 2 hours. I wouldn't usually go longer than that. It's just too much of a talk and context switching and listening to people. I prefer myself usually 1 hour for teams that are, I don't know, from 5 to ideally you would have less than 15 people in one retro just because with a massive group of people I've seen retros done for the whole team where there has been like 47 people. Do you really enjoy listening 47
Presentation.
people saying yeah, it's presentation, and especially if it's done by anonymously and then there's one talking head explaining all the answers from all the 47 people to make those topics relevant and them to feel connected to you and your work. If you have smaller team, it's easier, it's faster, it's not so time consuming. If I have a new team who's not really big fan or have like a little bit of a pre-thought retros are not so
PTSD.
useful, I usually start from a easier 4 weeks, somewhat timeline, once
Cool.
a month. It doesn't
Yeah.
feel so bad, and it's usually just 1 hour. To my happy surprise, with so many teams, after a little bit of practice, they have asked for more time, and that's a
Mm.
good sign for
Why
me. That
have they
means
asked? That's I'm very curious. Why have they asked for more time?
usually they start very happy with their what went well kind of thing. And for those who have never ever done retro, in a super simple core, in retrospective, you talk about what did go well, what did not go so well, the challenges, the issues, and the actions. So you have 3 main parts of that. It's easy to talk about what went well. It's super easy to say, hey, Harry, you did a great job on this
Yeah.
one.
Like sharing wins. Like
Then,
it's a
yeah,
human part of the job, which I try to do a lot more of. And yeah, I think it's also I don't know how else to say it, like the shit sandwich analogy. It makes the future conversation a lot better when you start with the good, right? So
yes,
it
yes,
feels a less like
definitely.
yeah. So I think
Let's come to
it's
this
just
roasting meeting.
yeah, yeah, roasting retros. Like, hey Frank, you've done 99% perfect, but what the hell is this? Like, no, it's not
Yeah.
nice.
Usually you get quite quickly over the nice, good positives. Then you spend a little bit more time on the challenges. The one part super many teams skip completely or don't spend enough time is on the actions. So I'm not
Hmm.
going to come into retro and tell you guys, oh, based on your feedback on all these challenges, this is what we are going to do. I am asking the team,
Has to be
what would you
co-created.
like to do? Yes. I cannot dictate how to solve all of your problems. I would never want to be that person. It doesn't, the team will not commit to those changes if it doesn't come from them. But that takes time. You just heard room full of people complaining about various things and having these challenges. So first you should talk a bit like what is the biggest issue out of this? And then together you come into solutions and you don't just want to jump to the first thing that someone says, okay, this is how we're going to fix it. You might want to challenge that. You might want to explain why that might not work for you. Or after you facilitate this discussion, better ideas come. But that takes time. And I kind of know it already in advance. But I try to facilitate it within a 1 hour. But often, if it's, let's say, 15 people, they themselves realize at some point that, hey, this is actually useful. We should probably spend a bit of time here. So maybe the
Beautiful.
sweet spot is somewhere like 1.5 hours for me often.
Alrighty. Can we role play?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, so here's my current situation. So it's not even role playing. I'm just going to tell you my situation. So
Real
I
life.
have, yeah. So I have a 10-person team. I have my event team, which is 2 people, but that will grow to another 2 people in June. And then I have the writing team where I spend most of my time retrospectively, right? We have a morning call on Monday, and we have a call every Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday to like sync in the afternoon, and then Friday there's a team retro, the whole 10 people. Okay, so the writing team, it's much more similar to game development than the event team. Event team is like we have an event once a month, we need to prepare, but it's kind of like self-sustaining now. Like they know what they need to do. But the writing, every day, things will go wrong, right? A client wants a different post, or the post doesn't get approved, so now we need to work on it extra. There's always something going on, but every time, content is being shipped. So I have that, but everyone is remote. The event team is not remote, and we work together, and I find that it really helps. Now, my writing team's all remote, and I had someone new start 2 weeks ago, and the other person started in December, and the other person has been here a year and a half. So very different levels of context, and also the onboarding. Unfortunately, I get better with onboarding with time. So the onboarding that the person just joined in March is a lot more comprehensive than the one that happened in December, for example. So everyone's got these different contexts, and I'm trying to like equalize and bring everyone up to speed, and it's hard. And I don't actually do retros in your way. All I do is unblocking meetings. So I don't know if I'm missing something. That's all what Monday is. Like, is anything blocked? No. Okay. Tuesday, Wednesday,
Mm.
Thursday, anything blocked? No. And then I do a one-to-one on Friday. That's my current situation. So I don't know if you want to ask me questions, but like, I feel like from listening to you, there's an element of retros that I need.
Yes, you're nailing stand-ups. That is for blockers. You're immediately giving solution or help or support for people to solve what is blocking them at the moment. Also
Thank you.
having one-on-ones, which is kind of retro, but it's just between you and that person. So you're helping them to grow in their career. But what about the team? Do they even know what each other of them are doing?
On the training call, I start it with wins, and then we decide what to train. So everyone who joins now has a one-to-one with everyone once, but there's no regular way to learn. And in remote setting, it's kind of going to be harder. So I guess we're missing that part.
Yes, pretty much. I would say you're missing the retro itself. So that may be something you want to try. Um, because it's all about also learning and not just about yourself, but how your work impacts the others. I don't, of course, have full context, but these writers, for example, do they have anything common with the event people? Is there any connection?
Yes.
Do they write for? Oh, then definitely, because they should talk to each other as well. And it's not about the deliverable for the customer. Like I said, not the release, not the feature. But hey, did I this time share my writing to you early enough? Was it in a sensible format? How
Sorry
would
to
I get?
correct.
Mm.
Sorry. Let me put it differently. They talk to each other. They kind of influence each other, but they don't internally have deliverables. The deliverable is only to the client, and I am quality control at this point in the company. However, because when you asked that, I was thinking of my brother. He works in event time. He has a lot of opinions. Like, I really want to help you on the processes, and I'm like, it would take so much context to give you that I want you to stay in your lane. And I thought that's what you meant. Like, should they talk? I'm like, they talk sometimes, but not in a regular way. So yeah, that's the context.
Mm. That means that the people who are naturally more vocal and more open to share their opinions, they do share because they just go and they share on Slack. But what about the more quiet people in your team or the people who might have really good ideas in their head,
It's
but
only
they don't
one to
know
one.
where? Mm. And then it's only one to one, so it's very siloed. They don't know about the discussion, and because it's one on one, it's usually kind of something that you are not also sharing with others because it's kind of meant behind
I
the
try.
closed door, kind of.
Like if it's client related, sorry, company related. Um, yeah, I'm realizing that. You know what it is? My afternoon on Friday is already full, so I'm like, I can't fit the retro. That's actually the problem. Maybe I'm so used to weekly retros, so I'm guessing it doesn't have to be weekly.
It doesn't. You can try bi-weekly, once a month, for example. Just set up a one for month. Also, you have to, like you said, if you share company info, you have to repeat it like 10 times because you have 10
I do
people
it
and you
on the
have to
team
one-on-one.
training call, so that's happening, but there's no retro happening. So team training, as in we had employee branding for 3 weeks. Now everyone's posting. Great. Last week was everyone describing what everyone did. Cool. This week I think will be on Claude Code because one of the new writers discovered a new way to use it. I'm like, great, you should share this with the team. So that's how I'm using that. And at the start, I share some quick wins. I'm kind of there, Maria. I'm close, and I feel like
You're
I just need to add.
close. you're the first quarter because you share what went well and you share what did we do. What did you learn? What did your team learn?
Yeah, I only do that on one topic, and one person teaches to everyone. So I don't have
Mm.
a way. Yeah, it would be great actually if the writers share. Hey, by the way, I found a new way to write. That would probably help everyone. Yeah.
Yes, new
Mm.
ways of documenting, new ways of setting processes, new ways of, hey, I need this from you in order for me to do my job better. Things that, like, if I'm a writer, I'm really fast and I'm just constantly delivering things. It might not even cross my mind to ask from the team, what would you guys want from me? Am I clear enough? Is my writing, am I sharing it in the right places, Slack channels, tribes, wherever it is? Exactly those ways of working, not really about the win itself. The win is great and it's something we should celebrate and flag. But for us to learn, we kind of have to also ask the hard questions. And there might be so much that people haven't unpacked exactly because they don't know where to do that.
Hmm.
Is it in the one-on-ones? But what if it's about conflict with someone and I don't want to, I'm a conflict avoidant. Who do I go to? How do I address this situation? And they just keep it in themselves. The best case scenario would be that there's a specific place where they feel safe to say that, hey, I had a little bit of challenge last time because I feel like I didn't know where to find the file and then I was late for my delivery and I hope we together could solve this. And I don't know if it's on the writer's side or if it's on this side. And just have that space for the discussion
Yeah,
and with the
that's only
actions
one to
because
one now. Yeah,
yes, that should
that's
be
only
team as
yeah.
well.
Yeah, for
I
sure,
mean,
because they
depends.
have multiple writers, right? So they can grow at the same rate rather than just by how many feedback loops I have.
And
Mm.
then it also kind of makes you the bottleneck, unfortunately, because then
Yeah,
you
we
have
don't
all
want
this
that.
information and you might have so great solutions for them for their tiny challenges that they have, but you have this group of amazing people you hired maximize their skill. They have probably even better answers sometimes to things.
You're gonna laugh now. So Frank,
Bring
who
it.
was the original writer, he's now the lead. He's content lead. I'm removing myself from content like accountability on every post, and he's not doing the one-to-ones. It's still me. So like even that is just like a complete like Frank should obviously be on all these calls, right? Because then he's not actually content lead if he's not, because he can't do. Yeah, Maria, I will change.
Exactly.
All right. Yeah,
Yay.
I've been convinced, everyone. I knew retros were good. I used to do them. I enjoyed them, but we did them so often that I probably had this perception of them that they took so long. Like I used to work while the retro was happening. So I didn't want to
I've
bring that
also,
energy.
yes, I've seen retros that were 4 hours of, even worse that I have seen 4 hours of looking at Jira tickets. That is not a
Hmm?
retrospective. Yes, that's just no, no, no. And it also, like, we are in a creative industry. It doesn't need to be, let's go into this room and stare at a screen. It can be, hey, let's take this small group and go outside on a nice terrace and have that chat there. Maybe if you know there's going to be some spicy topics, that's not the public space you want to be, but go to a nice room, go to connect that with a dinner afterwards or something. It doesn't need to be super formal. Now you have to pour your heart to all of us, but make
Yeah.
it fun for them, make it
Hmm.
something that they look forward to.
Curious now. So I love me a note taker. I find it very useful. So when I finish a meeting, if it's sales related, I make a very nice snapshot email and then I attach my offer. I find that amazing. Now, I don't actually use as much as I should the little action items it makes on the note taker, but we do have every call recorded. And if we need to double check something, we can always go back. But that's as far as we use the note taking ability. I'm curious your approach with note taking. Do you use it? If so, anything I should consider?
I don't. And I know there's AI that can do this and this and this for me, but there's a couple of reasons why I, first of all, I do some prep work. So I use Miro. I love Miro tool.
Me
It's
too.
amazing for small teams, especially if you don't want to spend crazy money. It is free for certain amount of people, and it's a decent price for even bigger groups. And you
Yeah,
can
I
use it
just
in
paid
so
for
many
the.
ways.
I just signed up like last week because I'm using more boards than three now. But yeah, I concur.
And
Continue.
there's amazing templates that you can already use for retros that already make it fun. So it's not just boring white thing. There this beautiful space themed,
Ooh.
graphical, amazing ones. I can share some links later that you can attach to the listeners. but I want it to be a space where everybody can work, because in the perfect world, I would have the team physically in the same place to do the retro, but in this
Mm.
hybrid space, it's not possible. So Miro is our virtual whiteboard. When we have a time boxed slot to talk about the good stuff, I ask the team first, you go, you take your sticky note, you write it so it sounds like you. It comes out the way you want to format it, not how I interpret it. Time boxing very important. So I give usually maximum 5 minutes to write. I do share the board in advance that they can already go and fill it
Cool.
whenever they
Maria,
want.
would this be
Mhm.
useful? Could you maybe tell me which one to open and we can like work our way through it? We
Maybe
can
maybe
always.
the island one, for example, just to prove the point. Kind of here, it
This
doesn't need
one?
to be the best of the yeah.
Okay. Retrospective in the island of Orleans. So I don't know where to start.
No worries. I just want to show it as it doesn't need to be a white Google document. It doesn't need to be
Mm.
an anonymous survey. It can be fun. It can be colorful. You can draw. You can write. You can do sticky notes. Usually, my teams are very happy to use also memes and GIFs as a way of communicating. You can slap them at Miro. What I do with my teams, I usually take the game that we work on and make
Mm.
the game themed one. So, for example, at Rovio, we were working on this very cute Moomin Valley. Of course, I had to make it a Moomin Valley as a story for the team that, hey, today we go to Moomin Valley, we walk from here to there and there. Now in a heyday, I went a bit too far with the pun team. So everything is a fishing area from heyday and for example, my section for the challenges and hard part, I call it smells fishy and things like that.
Nice.
It doesn't need to be super corporate boring, So there's hundreds and thousands of different versions in the Miro template library, and there's also fun retrospectives web pages where you can find different tools to use similar fun ways to do the retros.
Nice. So time boxing, do you mind? I'm just abusing
No worries,
you.
no
No,
worries.
I'm like taking advantage of you right now. Like if you were time boxing, how do you decide how to time box? Is it always 5 minutes? Less, more?
Most importantly, I want the board to be available for the team in advance. So, because we work in sprints, and even if it wouldn't, let's say we would be in release cycles, during something happens, and when the feeling is the strongest, I'm really frustrated today because someone did this, or
Mm.
hey, I nailed it, I learned something new, and I'm excited to share it. I want the team to know here is a place where I can and should go at
So
it right
living,
now.
breathing document.
Yes, always. But in the meeting, because not everybody has the time or capacity or wasn't even here, but they do want to share something during the meeting, it has to be time boxed. So if it's fast team and I know how to facilitate these, so I also kind of guide and push them throughout the meeting. I'm very clear, hey, now we're going to spend 5 minutes of silent time. I'm going to put this timer, this funky sound on. You're going to write your feelings here. You're going to write your feedback, your kudos, what made you proud, what made you happy. 5 minutes, let's go. And I see them typing fiercely. And then we spend maybe 10, 15 minutes to go look through those. And they know this
Nice.
time constraint. And I usually even I write it even into my Miro template. So every section has a clear, what is this about? How much time are we going to spend here? Is something expected from you? So team is writing these sticky notes. And then in the actions, for example, Baruso is taking notes kind of thing. So everybody knows what
Beautiful.
is asked.
Beautiful. Yeah. Now this looks a lot more. It's nice to have the visuals. Like we're just gonna put for people like what went well, what maybe shouting out anyone, and then what could have went better, and then what does this one say? Action points for the future. Okay, sweet. Let's say someone listened so far, Maria, to this entire podcast and is about to do a retro. What's going to go wrong? What typically goes wrong, despite best intentions? Like in your experience.
Someone who facilitates retro, I hope you would lead by example. So, especially with new or more shy teams, you might need to feel comfortable of sharing yourself first to show an example. Usually, for the good ones, I try to encourage them to give kudos to each other as well as highlight the good learnings. On the challenges, your main thing, as the person who facilitates, is stop the blame game. That's not the point of the meeting to come and finger point someone. You encourage them to find the actual root causes. Often the teams are saying, I got really frustrated. And I want to know why you got frustrated.
Yeah.
And
Not by
they,
the
especially
person, but
because,
the action.
yeah, yes. And because they are only learning about how to share what would be the most sensible way to share, you kind of have to handhold for a bit in the start. And of course, you have to be really the safety net as well. So if it gets really ugly, if people start to flame and blame, you have to be there and say, hey, time out. Let's stop this topic. Let's park it
Has that
here. Let's
happened?
move to this. Luckily, not in my team, but I have heard these stories from some people. And of course, if, how would I say, in a kind way, if you already have some issues in the company or in the team or in the culture, and those problems have not been addressed in years, you already have those
Mm,
negative feelings bubbling under. They just wait
mm.
for the moment to burst. And since retro is encouraging you to address your
Ah,
challenges, it might come out there. Um, and then in the actions, it is super important that someone will follow up. So, how I start my next retros. Let's say you and me, Harry, we would have set an action. We agreed that next time that we do podcast, we also go to eat chicken more because chicken was great a couple of years
yes.
ago. Um, the next retro would start. Did we go to do the chicken? Did we go and eat? And if we
So you
didn't,
open the second and every other retro with how are we looking with the actions?
well, actually, just let me backtrack a bit. First I started, did we nail these sprint goals? But this is very specific for my development team because we
Fair?
work on sprints.
Yeah.
But yes, otherwise, I start from the what did we agree last time? Did we actually nail this? Thumbs up or thumbs down? Because that might not be also super obvious answer, depending how good and clear the action point was. Sometimes we learn that okay, well, we didn't actually improve this because we didn't fully understand how. This was maybe
Mm.
a little bit too fussy, so we iterated back. And I here's a oh, this sounds very dark, but I like to I like to use peer pressure because I'm also known as the bringer of Chira from straight from the mortar. Um, Jira raises feelings, and often we agree that we actually do better ticketing, for example, but we make it as a details like we add information for QA in what environment to test this. That could be an action. And then the next time, I know already they might have forgotten, they didn't really commit to it yet. And I asked us, so did we do better tickets? QA, what do you feel about the tickets recently? And the rest of the people have to sit there and hear the QA saying, no, we didn't. And they feel the pinch in their heart that I said I will do better and I didn't do better.
Mm.
As long as I make it also like, it should not make you feel shit. It should make
Yeah.
you feel, oh, I am accountable for this. I actually said I will do this. I need to hold on to
Yeah.
this kind
Like
of
a
thing.
kind
So,
reminder and a visualization in front of you of what's happening on the other side. Because it's very easy in a remote world to forget, right?
yes, yes. That
Yeah.
reminded me of something. Also, if you are in a hybrid team, please, 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 please ask the team to have cameras on. Our facial expressions tell a completely different story what our writing sometimes does. So
Oh yeah.
that is only a fair ask from the team to come up, show my actual face to the rest of the
Mm.
team.
So, question for you. I have two teams. I don't think the writing team connects much to the event team. Or now that I say that, one of the person in the event team, one of like half of her role is the company page content. So it might be worth being on the same call. But I don't know. My gut says, do I want to put my event team through an hour of writing team retro? Like, is there a situation where you have a mother retro and then like the first half the leads run the marketing retro and then someone else runs that and then they sync into a team retro? Like, it's like I'm having these, maybe I'm over analyzing here, but like I don't know what to do there.
No, no, that's perfect question. And that's something you might find out while you set it up. It
Yeah.
is a bit easier in development because you usually have a specific group working on features or content or live ops or something, and they have to work together. Uh, I keep my retros open, so anyone who has something to say for this group, they can. For example, even if I would have a content team and there's someone from LiveOps who has to use the content, they might not need to work every day together, but maybe there was a bigger campaign during this time, or there was a massive event and something went wrong or something went really well. They can come to the retro. They are open and all notes are always shared, very transparent. How to form the group who should go together is definitely the group who actually work the most together. That is something you have to perhaps ask from them. Would you benefit if these people are here with you? Because it might be a learning as well. Sometimes, for example, sorry to throw the game teams under the bus, but sometimes player support is not considered as the game team, but they are the ones who actually firsthand experience the issues from players, and they have to do the comms from you back to the players, and that's something that devs might not really consider because they are so focused. I need to make a feature. I need to fix bug.
For me, just simple mistake. Yeah.
Exactly.
Just include player support, guys, please.
But it depends also on the company size. So, for example, Supercell alone, we have so many players across the whole world, across different time zones. It's not possible to include all of them, but at least I always welcome the representative in the retro if they want to attend. And if they don't, and if they have some issues, I will try to guide them. Retro would be the right place, so please join there. And sometimes I have people who just simply don't want to attend, and I can just by the time show them that if you don't come and address your issues for people, you will also not get like any resolution. This is the best way to come and share with the team. So then they kind of learn by good practice when and how and who should be there. But for this, I don't have a clear answer like you need to do it this way. It's
Yeah.
exactly
No, I
like
think,
you see how much they work together.
yeah, I think that's given me plenty to work with. Love it. Regarding retro, I have a second kind of angle to the podcast, because I think you'd be really good to speak on this given your background. But before I do that, is there anything you wish to add that we haven't spoken about regarding retros?
Two things. Like I said, the facilitator, in my opinion, should be there to lead example, but not eat the oxygen from the room. So that's something I'm guilty as charged of sometimes. I have to remind myself not to be the only one speaking. Let the team speak. Try to get them to speak. But I make sure that I am part of the retro, as I'm part of the team. Sometimes I see producer kind of, in a good way, extracting themselves out of it to make more room for the team. But especially with the new team, help them out, show them how it's done. Other thing that I don't often see other producers doing is how do you measure that your retros are actually doing something? And I like to do very, very, very simple thing. I have a rating at the end of it. It takes 30 seconds. After we have done all this, what went when, what didn't, what are the actions, we are happy with the actions. I have from 1 to 5. How did you feel during this sprint? Just your vibe check. 1, absolute shit, we cannot continue like this. I'm gonna quit. This is not fun. 5, amazing, stellar, beautiful. This is the best team ever. This is how I want to work forever. And I just want them to slap their name somewhere there. No half numbers. And on my side, after the retro, I calculate the average for each of the retros for the previous sprint. So I can see, are we heading to the right direction? Are we actually improving? Did something massive happen? Let's say if you're top down, someone in the company decided something that made everybody pissed off. I can also use that data and go to the leads, see what you did to my team with your decision. Or perhaps we celebrate something went really well, we learned something. I can take like, guys, you're doing really well. The actions that we did last time, it impacted so well that you all feel so much happier now, to show them constant. We are progressing, good things are happening. And I can also see the trends. Let's say if there's seasonal trends or company does something, or in general, there's just so many things I can take if I have that little bit of data that takes 30 seconds from the team to do.
Love it. Definitely stealing that. Anything you discovered from looking at that data that you were maybe surprised about or that you would want to share?
Definitely had to use sometimes that data to point out in top-down companies that this is how your guys' decisions impact, and this is kind of the trade-off of those actions. For example, if team morale or feelings are very low, that will most likely impact on the productivity and possibly even the outcome. So I can kind of risk mitigate a bit with that.
Mhm.
On the good news, for example, joining Supercell, the teams did do retrospective before, but differently, and we were growing. I had so many guys coming to me and asking, like, why do we do retros? Nothing ever comes out of these. I don't believe in
Really?
these.
Wow.
But now I had one specific group 1 year, and they did enjoy it. They liked it. But to make it to really stand out for them, I showed them after this, hey, by the time we went from this number to this number, and all throughout the year, together, you guys chose 50 separate improvements, individual actions that all helped us to become better, stronger, faster, trusting each other more. And now, because we have a little bit structured our teams again, so I have a half new team with me. Some of those OG members, they're already there, fully buy-in. Retros are great. I have seen and I have like learned how much better they can do. So data
Really
and
like.
results are very valuable.
So I understand now why you don't have a note taker, because the Miro gives you everything. Like it's all there,
Yes,
right? And it's
yes,
also
yes, yes,
clean
yes.
data, right?
And there's also nice AI that can cluster things for you and so on.
There you go.
But also, when you make the people write it themselves, it
You don't
has that
rely on the
memory
transcript.
kick.
You can actually,
Yes.
yeah, and also the memory. Sorry, to cut you off.
No worries. It's like for me at least, it's not the same for everybody, but I need that muscle memory. So if I write it, somehow my brain registers it way better and deeper if I
Yeah,
just read it from someone else's notes.
yeah, because you have the sensation of writing it. You have the sensation of looking at what you wrote and the time it took to write it. Usually, when you write something, you double check what you're going to write, so it tends to be a bit more nuanced. So it's a lot of reinforcement rather than just blurting it out, right?
Yes.
Love it. Okay, I want to do two things. I asked you if there's anything you want to share, and you said Supercell is hiring a lot. um, so, as much as you can share, everyone, there's a careers link somewhere on this post or on this podcast. In your experience, whether it's Supercell or any company, how does one stand out in the hiring process? Because you had some great,
Ooh.
opinions. I remember, like over 2 years ago, you gave some like what helped you, because you're very good at preparing for jobs. Let me just say that. I remember, like, you put in the effort, right? So yeah, what in your experience people need to know when it comes to kind of securing. Let's break it up. Sorry, I'm yapping. We have how to secure an interview, then how to actually win in the interview. So we can focus on the first one, maybe. Like in your experience, what are you seeing that people really need to like stop or start doing?
In whole bigger picture, as humankind, even on the retros, even on getting a job, it is really important for people to understand why. It is kind of built into us, that curiosity. So as a company, I would want to understand, why are you a great candidate? As an employee, I want to know, why would I join this company? So if you can bring that up already in your cover letter, why are you applying to this role, to this company? Why are you an amazing candidate? What would you bring to the table? That is an amazing thing. Then you, in the interview, you can have a deeper discussion about that. I quite often see people applying to us, I just want to be at Supercell. It's great. We appreciate your love and passion, but why? Well, why? Like, do you believe in our values? Do you really enjoy our games? Maybe you're a player yourself. Maybe there's a specific skill or craft that you want to learn. Maybe you already mastered that amazing skill and you think you have something to give us. So just a little bit more
Okay,
on that.
I have an idea. Have you ever read an application where someone said why they wanted to join Supercell, and you were like, there you go. Like, what did it made you feel as a hiring manager? It's like, that's what we're talking about here. Like, I can actually now understand about you. Like, maybe show them what an example of what saying why looks like.
Off the
Sorry, big
cold.
question.
No worries, no worries. Good question. I interviewed a bunch of producers because we were growing. We needed more. I needed a colleague to help me out. We already had a good thing going, but just a little bit more. I interviewed a bunch of people who were way more senior than I am.
Hmm.
I even felt maybe young Padawan asking them questions about production, but I can sense if you want to apply for us just because you want to be on a different team. So we have a lot of people because Heyday is recruiting a lot, and people are like, I actually want to work on Brawl, but maybe through Heyday. No, I can smell them do that.
Ah,
But then the good ones, they came like, Heyday is my passion game. I played it since 2012 when it came out. I've been polishing my skills. I think I'm ready for this. I have something to give for your players because I know this game in and out. Uh, and I can see if they have actually played the game and if they have given a thought about the game itself. I often ask about the company, like the way of working, because bottom up is also not for everyone. So those people who usually want to come here, they really want that work environment where they can really deepen their craft, where they can really take ownership. And those are the things that I'm looking for. And if I cannot sense that out of you, not from your text, not from your cover letter, not in the interview, there's very low chance that you
yeah.
would get hired at that
And
point.
I want to be a bit more aggressive with the listeners because I don't mind. And Supercell is amazing, but this I want to say this from a recruitment perspective, guys. It's a competition. We're not saying you wouldn't be good at the job. We're just saying we have to make a decision who to bring into the company. Insert two people. One person has passion and wants the why. I take this person. Doesn't mean you're bad at your job. You might be amazing, but the skill of interviewing is not required. But in an equal competition, the person who's better at positioning themselves will get the job. So it doesn't mean like you're parading yourself. It's just how can they make that decision without trialing you out for a few weeks? They can't. So they need to use parts of these aspects. So I have a lot of people who say, yeah, you know, I can't believe they're asking me for all this information. It's like, bro, you're applying. Okay? Like they're not desperate. This isn't a situation where you can just walk into a place and just exist. Like it's a competition and you probably guys get thousands of applicants. You need a way to determine, right? So yeah, I think some people just take it really personally. I just want to tell them like, guys, it's a competition. You want to win the competition, position yourself in the best possible way. And hopefully, you know, you feed yourself, feed your family. Like it's a big deal when people, for some reason, spend all this time in their career working all day. When it comes to an application, they're like, I'm like, what do you mean? Just give it your best
Spend
shot.
time, yes.
Yeah.
One thing that came to my mind as well is this might be an option. I don't know if this works anywhere outside of the Finnish market, but no bullshit. We want to hear also your failures, your self reflection. Are you humble? Like, are you just coming bragging you are the best of the best and you just want to be here the best of the best? Especially at Supercell, we also appreciate the humble one. We will ask about your failures. We will ask about what did you learn when you failed something. And I don't ever again want to hear those. So everything went well. We learned this. This was great. Da, da, da. I want to hear
Yeah.
you saying like, yeah, I actually fucked up here, and this is what I learned. This is how it changed. Now it's better.
Yeah.
That for me tells that you're open, you're honest, you're willing to learn, you're willing to change, you're willing to be better.
Yeah. Because I say we, like I had this interview process. I interviewed, it was 13 writers. And on the screening interview, some really technically good writers, if you're listening to this, like take this as feedback. We gave it to everyone, but like we clearly understood that they just think they're good and like there's no more learning for them anymore. I'm like, how can you join my company and only stay at your level? Like, of course, I want you to grow. And the only reason I assumed this is because when we asked them about their failures and whatnot, it was always in some reasons like it was not kind of their fault. It was always someone else's fault. And I'm just like, bro, like who are we kidding here? Like, of course you've become better over time. Otherwise, what have you been doing for 3 years? You didn't just get born as a good writer, especially for the craft roles, like an artist or whatnot. Like, if anyone ever, no, I started ranting, but like it's very clear when you hear the story if you're not sharing the truth. And like you said, there was some really new to writing. Some people with like zero professional writing experience had the most amazing answer to that question. I gave him the writing task instead of giving it to someone else because I can't. I can teach writing over time, but I can't teach openness. So, especially for these like soft skills, like people really need to understand how they're presenting themselves.
100%. Then we know if we as a company can provide you that kind of education, or if you need some kind of support on your role, where can we help you grow? How can we
Mm.
teach and educate you? And all that. Just
Yeah,
absolutely stay true. Be very open and honest.
love it. Nice. Obviously, when this podcast comes out, people can just go and see the careers on Supercell. But yeah, I ask this to everyone. I might change this in the future, but it's tradition now. So like, based on all of this conversation, anything that maybe that we've missed, like if someone had to get one thing from this podcast, like to take away, what would you want to take them? And let's position it to the games industry here, gaming professionals.
Do retros. Retro the retros while in. So ask the team how would they want to do. How can we help them to become better as well? Also, maybe one last thing for the retros itself. Some constraints, like if you have already open and trusting team, they might give you 800 great ideas that we would need to solve and improve and so on. So help them prioritize what is the biggest issue. Don't try to solve all of them at once. Just take slow, clear progress that you can make really visible. Like, okay, this time we have 20 minutes still. Let's talk about this one specific thing. How can we solve this? How can we make this better? Follow up on that. Move to the next one once that one is done. Don't try to
Mm,
pile them up, because then it also becomes this, oh, yeah, we said last time that we will do this and this, but if you have 50 of them and then you have your daily work, that's just not going to happen. So simple bite size, clear actions with a clear owner. That's how you make retros work.
love it, Maria. Thank you so much. If someone wanted to reach out, tell you how amazing you were on this podcast, what's the best way to reach you?
LinkedIn. I
Hell yeah.
absolutely love to network there. Don't come to sell to me something. Come and tell me something about you. How can I help you?
You now have the blueprint. So if anyone has tried to sell something to Maria, the answer was right here in minute not 58 minutes of the podcast. So yeah, love to see it. Maria, been a pleasure catching up. Thank you so much.
Thank you.